Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Bump and Run video show. I'm Sid Rosenberg for OpenSports.com and, of course, the National Football Post. Let's bring in former NFL safety and featured writer for the National Football Post, Matt Bowen, to break down the latest ongoings in the National Football League. As always, Matt, great to talk to you, pal.
Thanks for having me back on.
All right, man, I look forward to this each and every week. You know, it was supposed to be a big-time showdown of unbeatens, but Drew Brees and the Saints really took it to the Giants. Is it safe to say, Matt, that New Orleans is now the best team in football? They've got the Dolphins here next Sunday.
Sid, I think you got to say that. Just watching them play, especially against the Giants, I thought that, Brees really had his way with the Giants secondary. At times, I thought he just challenged defensive backs down the field. Guys were covered. He still threw it up because he knew his guys were going to go get the football. And on defense, they brought enough pressure to frustrate Eli Manning, and the Giants didn't get the running game going. These are supposed to be the two best teams, and, you have to say the Saints are number one right now.
Yeah, they were much better. Another game was in New Orleans. I will say this about the Saints, though, because they did a nice job against Bradshaw and Jacobs with the Giants. Now they've got Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams coming up on Sunday, the best rush offense in football. I don't think most football fans know this, Matt, but the Saints are actually number 3 against the run in the NFL. They're okay on defense as well.
Yeah, I think you got to give credit to Greg Williams. We talk about the Broncos with Mike Nolan. He gets a lot of credit, but give Greg Williams some credit. Because without him, they're just the same team they've been the last couple of years. Try to outscore people. But right now, they can play defense, they cause turnovers, and like you said, they're stopping the run.
All right, Matt, speaking of undefeated teams, another win by the 6-0 Broncos on Monday night, taking down San Diego. But again, they completely shut down their opponents in the second half. 20 points in the first half, 3 in the second. What is Josh McDaniels telling these guys at halftime? He's a great second-half coach.
He is, and I think the players are great second-half players. Look at what they do. You noticed last night, towards the fourth quarter, midway through the fourth quarter, they really started to wear down the Chargers' front seven. They started running the ball. Every time they come to third down, it's like 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. They can run those little rub routes to Brandon Marshall in the flat, throw the slant, the hitch. It almost looks easy for them right now because they're coached so well on both sides of the ball.
No doubt about it. Last week, in fact, against the Pats, they gave up 17 in the first half. They blanked Tom Brady and company, who scored 59 against Tennessee in the second half. Now let's touch on some bad teams here, Matt. First, things keep getting worse for Jim Zorn, your former team, the Washington Redskins. They scored just 6 points in a loss to the previously winless Kansas City Chiefs at home. And now a guy that was calling bingo, literally bingo, a few weeks ago, Sherm Lewis, is going to be calling the offensive plays. Can it get worse in Washington?
No, it's a disaster. It bothers me as an ex-player, but, as an analyst now, you have to look at what they're doing, Sid. You bring in a guy who's been there for 2 weeks. He doesn't know these players. How's he going to manage these players throughout the course of a game? Does he know when CP gets tired? Does he know when to take chances with Jason Campbell? He hasn't been there. Think of a teacher in a classroom just walks in. He or she doesn't know his students. It's the same with Sherm Lewis. And I'll tell you what, I guarantee by the time it snows in Northern Virginia, Jim Zorn is going to be out.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe bet. Safe bet, I should say. Now, what has happened to the Tennessee Titans here, Matt? Best record in football at 13-3 last year, the 1 seed inside the conference. Now 0-6, coming off a complete and utter embarrassment in New England. Outscored 45-0 in the first half alone, 59-0 overall. I'm hearing Jeff Fisher may be in trouble. What's gone on in Tennessee?
Well, I think it starts with the defense. They're not a team that can play well from behind. And we see how important Jim Schwartz was to that defense. They bring Chuck Cecil in, who's a great player, a feared player in the secondary, but it doesn't seem like he can get on the same page with his own secondary. They gave up way too many big plays. It was a joke against New England. In the snow to give up 59 points, I guarantee if Brady stayed in the whole game, they would have scored 80. And that's just how they are right now. From, my vantage point, looking at it as an ex-player, I thought they packed it in. When you pack it in, that's what happens in the NFL. These teams are too talented not to come play, and right now they're not playing.
Somebody called me on my daily radio show on WQAM in Miami today and said, are you telling me that because Albert Haynesworth left Tennessee and went to Washington, that this team is that bad? One player leaves. I know that, like you said, Jim Schwartz left and McCarron's left on offense. But is Albert Haynesworth's departure the reason for this debacle?
No, because you can't put it on one player. Yeah, he was a great player, but Albert Haynesworth was known to take plays off, just like he's doing in D.C. now. That's not going to make the difference. The difference is the whole unit. That comes down to Keith Bullock and those other veterans. They have to turn this around. But, at 0-6, they're done. Let's get ready for the draft and free agency in Nashville.
Agreed, and we'll see if Jeff Fisher is back to do that. The longest tenured coach in football. He's been there so long. They were the Houston Oilers when he first got there. Early word out of San Francisco has Michael Crabtree getting a starting nod already. Do you think, Matt, the rookie holdout can have an impact this Sunday in Houston for the 49ers?
Well, it almost seems like he has to, Sid. I mean, San Francisco is inept on the outside. They have no threats outside the numbers. Sean Hill hasn't shown that he can create big plays, so why not put him in there? You know, it's the funny thing about holdouts. Once they're over with, everyone loves the guy, especially if he plays well this Sunday. And I expect them to use Crabtree like like Smith and Ron Turner used Johnny Knox in Chicago. Some bubble screens, some three-step slants, and some go routes. Just get him involved, get the ball in his hands, and let him see what he can do. We'll start to see him mature over the course of the rest of the season. But the Niners need the help. They need playmakers.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Their offense, not all that good. Singletary's got a good defense. Nice matchup, Crabtree, for the 49ers against Andre Johnson with Houston. As always, Matt, terrific job. We'll do this again next week, week in and week out. A great job right here. Thank you so much, Matt Bowen.
Thanks for having me on.
You got it, pal. Remember, you can also follow Matt on Twitter at MattBowen41 and catch all of his great writing, and it is great, at nfpost.com. That's going to do it. From Matt Bowen, I'm Sid Rosenberg. And as always, folks, enjoy the football.